Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is once again happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call as we kick off coverage of the winter sports season for this 2017-18 school year. The very first game of the season for the Milford boys basketball team as they welcome in a Kelly Rex Division rival in the Hockomock League. They will match up tonight against the King Philip Warriors. This is a matchup that has become tradition for the season debut for both of these teams, dating back to the last several seasons. But before we dip in to this new season, we certainly have to look back on what was a memorable season last year for Milford boys basketball. This basketball team has continued to make significant strides forward in their development ever since head coach Paul Seaver joined the program, now entering into his fourth season at the helm of this team. We've seen those baby steps made in the first couple of years, but this team making a big leap forward last season, making it into the playoffs for a second straight year. And of course, we remember very well what happened when those playoffs began. A memorable, magical comeback for the Scarlet Hawks team in the opening round of the MIAA tournament last year. A 12-point deficit going into the fourth quarter against a very tough Marlborough team, but Milford was able to dig deep, and they ultimately earned a victory in overtime. They fell one round later to the #1 seed in their playoff bracket, the Neshoba Chieftains, but still a very successful year for Milford, a year that had its ups and downs in the regular season. Milford, midway through the year, was contending perhaps for a Davenport Division title, but some late season struggles put Milford's playoff hopes in doubt. They were able to win a game on the final day of the season to clinch that playoff berth, but again, performed exceptionally well in that 2017 MIAA playoff tournament, and now this team looks to continue that development. They hope to be a serious contender for a division championship this year, and they certainly look like they have the pieces to do it. Of course, they have some big shoes to fill on the team. No longer around are the two top scorers from last year's team. Both Zach Tamani and Anthony Arcudi no longer in the fold after graduating this past spring. But Milford does have plenty of talent remaining from last year's squad, and of course the conversation begins with now second-year captain and senior Caden Kelly. Caden has been an absolute monster underneath the basket for his entire varsity career. He's led the Hockomock League in rebounds, nearly averaged a double-double a season ago with 14.3 rebounds per game and 9 points per game, so he looks to continue to excel in both of those categories this season as he looks to shoulder a bigger load on the offensive side of the floor throughout the season. Also returning to the team this year and looking to be key contributors are Shane Kosket, who will once again serve as the team's primary point guard. Also Zach Tamaro, a good sharpshooter from the outside, returns to this team. He is also a captain. And also Brendan White, who really stormed his way onto the scene at the varsity level last year as a sophomore, is now a junior on this team, is now a captain on this team, and will be a key contributor. 5 captains in total on the team. We've talked about Caden Kelly, Zach Tamaro, Shane Kosket, and Brendan White, and also Joey DeMarco, a captain as well, who will serve as a spark plug off the bench for this team as the season goes on as well. So the returning pieces are in place, and also a couple of big reinforcements coming to the team shortly before the season began. Of course, fans of Scarlet Hawks football have already seen the contributions that Joey Everett can bring in athletic competition. Everett transferring in this past fall and immediately finding a spot as a wide receiver on the football team, demonstrated tremendous speed, athleticism, intensity, all 3 of those things we expect to see on the basketball court as well. And also returning to Milford High School for his senior season is Andrew Fraioli. He was here as a freshman and a sophomore, now back as a senior, and the 6'5" center figures to be a key component to the starting 5 for this team as the season goes on. So there is plenty of height, there is plenty of speed, there is plenty of athleticism on this team to go around, and plenty of depth as well. When I talked to the players on this team prior to the start of the season, every single player said the same exact thing. Our depth is going to be one of our key components to our success this season. Confident that this team can go 7, 8, 9, perhaps 10 deep, giving this team an opportunity to get a lot of different personnel out on the floor, rest a lot of players at times, and just be a very sound all-around team. So excited to see the season get going, a season with a lot of expectations for the Scarlet Hawks team. They will take on the King Philip Warriors tonight. As we mentioned, King Philip on the outside looking in of the playoffs a season ago. They were the only Kelly Rex team to fail to make the playoffs, but they should not take this opponent lightly. There is some good talent on this team. The conversation starting on the King Philip side with Kyle Lehman, who is now a junior at 6'4". He is one of the more athletic big men in the Hockomock League. He can play well down low. He can also shoot the basketball, and he has given Milford trouble in the past. Also, another very strong athlete on this team is the senior captain, Pharaoh Davis, who has hurt Milford in previous matchups as well. Also factoring into this team are senior captains Nolan Bradley and Tom Madden as well. So there are some good components on this team for second-year head coach Mark Champagne. Milford has defeated King Philip in each of the previous 2 meetings between these 2 teams. Those were on the first days of both the 2016-17 season and also the 2015-16 season. So a 2-game winning streak for Milford coming into this matchup. They hope to make it 3 straight. There has already been plenty of intensity in this gym, even for the JV matchup between these 2 teams, which King Philip narrowly edged out in the closing seconds. But we expect to have a very spirited crowd here in the Milford gym tonight as we get the winter sports season started. It is the Milford Scarlet Hawks taking on the King Philip Warriors, and we want to welcome in all of our viewers who are tuned into our live stream feed. Thanks to some improved Wi-Fi here at Milford High School, we are so happy to have the opportunity to bring you live streaming coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics throughout this winter sports season. We will be here for boys and girls basketball for virtually every home game of this upcoming 2017-18 season. So if you're tuned into us live here tonight, welcome. Excited to have you on board for a very good matchup, and also we encourage everyone to check out our live streaming coverage throughout this winter sports season. We will have the opening tip between these 2 teams when we come back next here on our coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV. Back inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School. It is time to get this winter sports season started. And if you stayed with us during the national anthem, you could see that this crowd is already pumped up and ready to go. Quickly, before we get this game started, we'll bring you your starting 5s for these 2 teams. For King Philip, it is Brendan King, Bruce Santellis, Tom Madden, Nolan Bradley, and Kyle Lehman. And for your Milford Scarlet Hawks, it is Joey Everett making his Scarlet Hawks debut on the basketball court, followed by Brendan White, Andrew Fraioli, Caden Kelly, and Zach Tomorrow. Important to note, as this game gets underway, Milford will be without the services of Shane Cosquet, as he is nursing an injury not expected to linger, but not suiting up for the game here tonight, so Milford will be a little bit short-handed as the Scarlet Hawks control the opening tip, and boys basketball is once again underway here in Milford, and trying to get a little too cute with the pass on the opening possession. Milford turning it over, but they'll end up getting it right back as Brendan White will have a chance to inbound underneath his own basket. Outside to Everett, who expects to roam the floor. With his size, you'd expect him to be a post player, but with his athleticism, Coach Seaver insisting he can play anywhere on the floor and can shoot it from outside as well. Here's the feed inside to Caden Kelly with the shot clock winding down, and the senior captain collects the first 2 points of the season for the Scarlet Hawks. Quickly, a long pass up the floor for King Philip, sending the passes around the perimeter. The quick 3 from the corner is a miss, and Milford is able to scoop up the rebound. You would expect with Milford's size out on the floor, rebounding will not be a problem as Brendan White goes all the way to the basket but can't finish. Taken up the floor by Pharaoh Davis before he dishes out to Lehman. And now outside for Tom Madden, who directs traffic. Sends it into the corner for Lehman, who will now cut inside, lets it float to the rim, and gets the finish. The junior captain putting in the first points for KP. Have to imagine some jitters for both of these teams as the season gets going. Again, Milford trying to thread a pass through traffic inside to Fraioli. And in the end, Caden Kelly ends up on his back. And the foul is called. I believe the foul was called on Bruce Santellis. So Zach Tomorrow will inbound, gets it out to White. And a key piece missing with Shane Cosquet, who is the field general for this team in his senior year, not present. Here's Kelly now working down low on Lehman and gets it to bounce through. And an early 4 points in this first quarter for Caden Kelly. He said to me before the season started, I need to step up more on the offensive side of the floor. Wants to see himself in double digits in points in just about every game. Knows he needs to pick up the slack left behind by the two leading scorers from a season ago, Tamani and Arcudi, who were not only top offensive performers, but were such pivotal energy players. As KP takes it inside, the foul. That foul going against the Warriors. Milford back up the floor with the 4-2 lead. Still 5:45 to play in the opening quarter. White trying to send a long bounce pass into Everett, who tried a couple of times to salvage the possession, but ultimately King Philip able to take it back up. And now it's Davis. Slings it across to Madden. And now outside for Lehman. Thought about the shot. Now Davis, the ball gets deflected out. It will stay with the Warriors. Again, it is DeMarco, Cosquet, White, Kelly, and Tamaro, the 5 captains for this new edition of the Scarlet Hawks. 9 seconds left on the shot clock for King Philip. As Davis surveys his options, able to get around Tamaro, now sends the ball back out for Lehman from 3 off the back of the rim, and Joey Everett able to secure the rebound. Here's Kelly now, trying to send it back out for Fraioli. It gets picked off, taking it all the way to the basket. Tom Madden, Fraioli able to stay with him, but ends up committing the foul in the end. Tom Madden now, the senior captain at the free throw line, able to knock down his first. Two for 2 for Madden. So it's been Brendan White pretty consistently working as the de facto point guard in the absence of Cosquet. Fraioli, a hard pass, finds Kelly, sends it back on the outside to Everett, now back into Kelly. This time can't make the move around Lehman, gets it back out for Tamaro. A clean look from 3, and Tamaro knocks it down. Zach Tamaro gets on the score sheet for the first time this season as Milford now opens up an early 7-4 lead. Everyone overcommitting to Caden Kelly, and it left Tamaro wide open from outside. King Philip tries to answer, but Madden can't find the stroke from outside. King Philip able to keep the possession alive, and Madden this time trying underneath the basket again, could not finish. So the offense sputtering a bit out of the gates for the Warriors. 3:35 left to go in the opening quarter of play. Tamaro now leaves it for White. White a little too strong on the three-point attempt. Now Lehman and Davis go back and forth on the far wing as we tick down to 3 minutes to go in the first. Tamaro guarding Lehman close. Pharaoh Davis has his pass deflected. White quickly up the floor. White loses the handle underneath the basket as Davis was able to recover defensively, or did they call the foul? Perhaps they'll say that Davis got a hand on that, deflecting it out of play, but either way, The Scarlet Hawks will inbound. Officials conferring with one another, and now they set up shop for tomorrow to inbound just to his left of the basket. Just to his right of the basket, I should say. Now from the corner, slings the inbounds pass all the way out to Brendan White at near midcourt. Everett, the no-look pass to Tomorrow from the corner. No good on the shot. Steve Sutherland checking into the game, picks up a quick foul. Still a 7-4 score with 2:40 to play. Now Lehman, again, trying to float it home. Not much falling for King Philip in this opening quarter. Now under 2.5 minutes to play. Everett trying to make a move around Santullus. Gets it back now. And he floats it in from the free throw line. And that will lead to a timeout taken with 2:07 to play. Milford now up 9-4. Now again, a little bit of confusion as the officials briefly talk things over with head coach Mark Champagne over on the King Philip side, and now the Hawks will set up for the inbounds. Out to Brendan White, so we keep on going with close to 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. King Philip now the bounce pass to Davis. Davis now long pass. King Philip trying to spread Milford out a bit. They get it back to Davis. Can't get around White. Back out on the perimeter. Just over 90 seconds to play in the quarter. Davis puts up a tough shot. No good. Sutherland with the rebound. Caden Kelly, hard pass to Tomorrow into the corner for White. Approaching the final minute of play in this first quarter. Now Tomorrow left all alone, but Lehman flies in to reject the shot. Tomorrow had a free cut to the basket. The pass was right on the money, but Lehman was able to recover. And sending a hard rejection out of play. And Milford gets called for the shot clock violation. All Coach Seaver can do is smile as Milford tried to get that shot off in time. Kelly able to get a hand on the inbounds pass, but it deflects out of play. It will stay with the Warriors with 1 minute and 1 second to go. Davis into Brendan King, and right back into the hands of the senior Pharaoh Davis. Santullus now working against Brendan Saylor, who checks in for the first time as a member of this varsity squad. Now the long pass ends up right in the hands of the Milford bench, and that draws the applause of the Milford Scarlet Hawks student section. Alive as always. This is a student section that was very passionate throughout the basketball season last year, traveled very well to the team's 2 playoff games, and picking up right where they left off a season ago as Saylor and Sutherland go back and forth. 26 seconds to go in the quarter as Saylor will set up for the shot off the back of the rim, nearly pulled down by Steve Sutherland. I believe the foul was called against Caden Kelly. They don't put the fouls up on the scoreboard here in Milford, so you've got to try to catch that motion from the officials to see what number they're calling the foul on. As Milford goes for the steal and instead gets called for the foul. Zach Tomorrow not happy about it, and the officials staring an extra moment at Tomorrow to make sure he keeps his emotions in check. So Milford starting to pick up a series of fouls here in the final seconds. 17.8 left in a low-scoring first quarter. Milford with the 9-4 lead as Davis takes his time. King Philip looking for that final shot. They feed it into the corner, and the three-pointer is well short for Bruce Santullis. Here's Saylor now back up the floor. Milford with time running out, and the shot was late as it came out of the hand of Matt Nickerson, another new face on this varsity squad, and that will do it for the opening 8 minutes of play. So again, both of these teams looking to get some of those kinks out in the early going of the season. We know it's going to be a little bit of a learning process for this new Scarlet Hawks team with so many of the key components from last year's team. We've talked quite a bit so far about the loss of Tamani and Arcudi, and that's to say nothing about the other seniors that they lost as well. Nate Davila, who was such a huge presence off the bench for this team. Alex Masick, who was really a lockdown defender through much of the season last year as well. So that's a lot of the starting five from last season's team that is no longer around, and you add in the fact that Shane Cosquet is missing tonight due to injury. And of course you can see him right now getting water for a couple of his teammates. He is in good spirits. He looks to be relatively healthy, so we expect that this is going to be the only game that Cosquet will miss. But nonetheless, a lot of new components that are getting worked in here in their very first varsity action of the season. So we expect that this is by no means a finished product for this team. They will continue to get used to each other as the year goes on. And you can also see Coach Seaver is trying to get a lot of his personnel out there onto the floor to log some minutes here in the early going. We'll see now the first action of the night for senior captain Joey DeMarco as he takes the floor along with Brendan Saylor, Caden Kelly, Andrew Fraioli, and also remaining out on the floor, Matt Nickerson. As Milford's able to block the shot. Nickerson up the floor before handing off to Brendan Saylor. Sets things up. Coach Seaver not happy with what he's seeing on this particular possession, stomping his foot as Fraioli went for the layup. And again, King Philip is able to reject the shot. There's a lot of length on both of these rosters here tonight. We've talked about Milford with the presence not only of 6'4" Caden Kelly, 6'5" Andrew Fraioli, and 6'4" Joey Everett. Excuse me, 6'3" Joey Everett. You also add into the mix Dom Schofield at 6'4", freshman swing player for varsity and JV. But also on the King Philip side, Kyle Lehman, who rips that ball out of the hands of Milford, eventually feeds it to Tom Madden, who gets his first points from the floor. Lehman listed at 6'4", also Tom Madden at 6'4", Bruce Santullis at 6'2", Luke Cervello at 6'2", and Andrew McKinney at 6'3" for this King Philip team. So there is a lot of height to go around for both of these varsity programs. Right now we've seen more in terms of defense than offense for both of these teams. As we tick down here in the second quarter, just under 7 minutes to play. As Saylor loses the handle on the basketball, but Fraioli's there to recover. Gets the pass to White, who feeds it underneath the basket back to Saylor. Goes around one defender, can't finish. Fraioli has it roll off his fingertips into the hands of Davis, who picks up speed down the far wing and now pulls it back outside. Up at the top of the key for McKinney. Davis calling Lehman out onto the perimeter as the shot clock goes under 10 seconds. The student section not causing King Philip to lose focus as Lehman finishes. Four points now in the half for Lehman. And it's down to a 1-point Milford lead as Brendan White comes down the floor, answers right back with 3. And there are the first points of the game for the junior captain, Brendan White. The second three-pointer made in this half for the Scarlet Hawks as now they assume a 12-8 advantage. Davis with the feed into the corner, Lehman guarded closely. Ball skips back outside to Brendan King. Now Davis with 2 defenders on him. That leaves an open look from 3 for King, but he can't knock it down. Milford secures the rebound. Saylor looking comfortable handling the basketball here since coming into the game late in the first quarter. Brendan White, not quite enough elevation underneath the basket that time. Now Lehman from the corner gets his pocket picked. Fraioli ends up with it. So both offenses continuing to look to get into a rhythm. Kelly now for Fraioli, briefly thought about 3. He is comfortable shooting the 3-ball when needed. Time running out. Milford has to put it up, and it's blocked. And Saylor able to get it back. Puts in the reverse lay-in. It was not a shot clock violation as King Philip had initially come down with it. So Saylor picks up his first points of his varsity career. The clock stopped now with 4 minutes and 28 seconds to go. Milford now with a 14-8 lead. And another conversation between the coaching staff and Coach Champagne over on the King Philip side. Not quite sure what the argument is about. As Coach Champagne gestures to the scorer's table. And meanwhile, free throws for Tom Madden. He went 2 for 2 in the first quarter, now knocks down his third shot from the line, one more coming up. And finally a miss. And it's Joey DeMarco who's able to wrestle down the rebound. And he gets fouled. .426 to play in the half as Saylor lets the ball bounce a couple of times before picking it up. Crosses midcourt. Gets the pass away to White, pestered defensively by Brendan King. Now here's Fraioli, the inside feed. No good on the shot. The ball sent out of play. Milford will inbound with a fresh shot clock. Steve Sutherland back into the game, decides to put up the 3 off the side of the rim, and now Sutherland loses his footing, slows up Kelly's progress as he does so, but Milford eventually able to get back in numbers. And from 3-point range, no good on the attempt by Santellis. The ball out of play will be taken over by the Scarlet Hawks with now 3 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the half. Milford with a 5-point lead in a low-scoring first half so far. There's White now trying to get a step on King. Saylor, a good touch pass into Caden Kelly. who does the rest. And Kelly now is up to 6 points in the half. And so there is our first timeout of this first half, and we will take the timeout as well. 3 minutes and 30 seconds even remaining in this first half. Milford now up 16-9 on King Philip as you enjoy coverage of Milford High School basketball here on Milford TV. And right back out of the timeout. King Philip, a dangerous cross-court pass. They're able to get away with it. Now carrying the ball inside, Santulis sending it back outside for King. King has been struggling shooting here in the first half, but King Philip this time able to get the offensive board. Milford called for another foul. This time it will send Andrew McKinney to the line. And McKinney can't put it in. Davis nearly coming up with the steal on Saylor. The ball still free, and finally back to Farrow Davis. And in the end, Milford called for yet another foul, and that one called on Saylor. Milford up to their 9th foul of this first half. A lot of them have come here late. Looks like now Milford will go with a 5 of White tomorrow, Kelly, Everett, and Sutherland. As Davis puts in the free throws. Back to a 5-point lead for Milford at 16-11. White cuts between a couple of defenders, takes a very tricky shot. Cannot land it. Now Davis out on the perimeter for Tom Madden. King Philip has been trying for this entire first half to get their outside shooting going. They have had no success. They have yet to knock down a 3 tonight as Brendan White gets a great pass inside, gets the shot and the foul. White up to 5 points now, all of them coming here in the second quarter, and a chance to put in the free throw, but first we'll see another timeout called. As this is the first night of high school basketball for the Hockomock League this season. Milford did expect to get their regular season started this past Saturday with a matchup at non-conference Hopedale, but of course, Mother Nature picked the perfect time to drop the first snowfall of this winter. That forced the game to be postponed. That game will now be played coming up this weekend on December 17th. Still at Hopedale with a 3 o'clock tip-off, so that pushed Milford's first game of the season here to this Tuesday. And again, there have been no other games played in the Hockomock League so far this season, so Hockomock competition getting started here in the Milford gym tonight with the Scarlet Hawks and the King Philip Warriors. Milford facing off against a pair of teams from the Kelly Rex to get their season going here at home tonight against King Philip before traveling just down 495 to take on the Franklin Panthers this Friday as White misses the free throw, but Caden Kelly pulls down the rebound, and Zach Tomorrow knocks down his second three-pointer of the half. Milford will certainly take that exchange. And now Milford able to get the steal, and all of a sudden that lead up to an even 10 points for Milford as they start to turn up the heat here in the late stages of the half. They try to ride the hot hand with White, who has his shot rim out, tries to fight for his own rebound, but King Philip comes away with it. They had a brief advantage up the floor with Andrew McKinney breaking for the basket, but he stumbled, and that allowed Milford to get back defensively. And King Philip misses another shot. It has been a woeful shooting half in general for King Philip. Here's Caden Kelly now, has a couple of defenders draped on him, cannot finish. Putting up the contested inside shot. Under 90 seconds to go now in the first half as Farrow Davis tries to cut to the basket. And they will call the foul, I believe, on Zach Tomorrow. This would be the 6th free throw of the half for King Philip. Beg your pardon, that was the 8th free throw of the half for King Philip. And one more still for Farrow Davis. Goes 2 for 2 again. So 13 points in the half so far for King Philip, 6 of them coming from the free throw line. Right now the only thing keeping KP close as Kelly finds an easy lane to the basket and doesn't miss. 8 points now in the half for Kelly as King Philip cannot answer on the other end. Another miss for Santullis. Brendan White, some fancy dribbling behind the back now. Fraioli gets the pass underneath the basket for Nickerson, and now eventually back out. And Joey Everett, a little bit of indecision, tries to make the play towards the basket himself and ends up taking the foul. It'll give Milford the chance to inbound the basketball with 43.8 seconds until halftime. Nickerson sends it into the backcourt for White. A little more than a 10 seconds difference between shot clock and game clock. Danny Corsini into the game now, here to close out the half. Here's Kelly, a start, a stop. Tries to get it to Fraioli, eventually does find its way into the hands of the senior. But no shot that time for Milford. Now Farrow Davis gets his pocket picked from behind. King Philip able to recover, but committing the foul for the Warriors was Luke Cervello. The senior just checking into the game and picks up a quick foul. 15 seconds to go, so now Milford with the chance to play for the final shot of the half, up by 10. KP guarding closely. Brendan White takes it all the way to the rack. And White gets fouled. Stopping the clock with 2.9 seconds left. White 0 for 1 from the line so far. Make it 0 for 2. Joey Everett right back out onto the floor, and for the first time tonight, we see Chappelle Feaster make an appearance out on the court. Another exciting addition to this varsity team. As Chappelle Feaster brings nothing but electricity to the football field, and now out there for the final seconds of this half and picks up a very quick foul. Trying to keep himself under control, getting his first varsity minutes, and immediately the senior captain, Caden Kelly, over to have a word with Feaster, trying to make sure he keeps those emotions in check. Chappelle Feaster plays with a lot of passion, which again makes him just a fan favorite to watch on the gridiron. Excited to watch him in this basketball season this year. Still just a junior, so has another year to go. And he will head right back to the bench. So a brief appearance here as he checks out. 1.4 seconds left. Davis has been good from the line here. 6 for 6 in the period as Milford heaves one up at the buzzer, no good, and so that will send us into halftime with the score 24-15. Milford out in front. They have led all the way so far. And so some good, some bad for both teams throughout the first half. Again, a lot of what you would expect to see in the very first game of the regular season. Some jitters, some tough shooting on both sides, particularly on the KP side. So these teams will try to settle it down in the locker rooms at the half. We will be back with third quarter action in just a few moments. Again, 24-15. Milford leads the King Philip Warriors here on our coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. Action set to resume here in the Milford gym. The second half getting underway between the Milford Scarlet Hawks and the King Philip Warriors on this opening night of the 2017-18 winter sports season. Tim Coette back with you on the call here from Milford TV. An excellent crew on hand for our first winter sports action, and an entertaining ball game so far. A 24-15 lead for the Scarlet Hawks. They built that lead up in the final minutes of the second quarter. A couple of looks underneath the basket to open the third for Milford. They can't knock it home, and Pharaoh Davis picks up speed down the other end of the floor. And he gets fouled, and fouls are going to be a concern for Milford as the second half goes on. They picked up a host of fouls through that second quarter. And it seems like Milford will quickly go to the bench. Here just 30 seconds in as Zach Tomorrow, who by my count now has 3 fouls, will head to the bench. Brendan Saylor, who looked very comfortable at the varsity level through the first half, will log some more minutes. A free throw miss. Saylor tries to track down the loose ball. Brendan White able to pick up the slack. A tough feed back to Saylor, who's right back into the play, but cannot finish with the shot. But another whistle as this one goes against the Warriors. Milford with a 5 on the floor of Kelly, Everett, White, Saylor, and Fraioli. As the inbounds pass is deflected, ends up out of play. White loops the inbounds into Saylor, who sends it right back to White all alone under the basket. White with 6 points in the first half and now grabs the first bucket for Milford here in the third quarter. And hustle points for Milford after the basket. Everett getting escorted away after the fact by the officials. Joey Everett, like a lot of these Milford players, at times wears his emotions on his sleeve. We saw it on the football field. Everyone trying to channel that energy in a positive way as the Scarlet Hawks season goes on. (26-16), still a 10-point margin in Milford's favor as that pass ticks off the hands of Fraioli. White to the basket, tosses up the shot as he absorbed the contact, could not make it. But will now have a chance from the free throw line. A lot of communication from the sidelines from head coach Paul Seaver as he watches his team in action, in game action for the first time this season. Brendan White continuing to struggle from the free throw line. Oh for 4 so far. You can and count the basket for Tom Madden. He finishes with the free throw. Right now, only 3 players for King Philip making their way onto the score sheet. In the first half, it was 6 points for Pharaoh Davis, 5 for Madden, and 4 for Kyle Lehman. And now 3 points so far in this third quarter for Madden. As we continue to see a foul-heavy game on both sides now. Milford no longer looked at as a team in rebuild mode after back-to-back playoff seasons, trying to reach the MIAA tournament for a 3rd straight year, which would be the first time Milford has done so since 05, 06, 07, when Coach Seaver was a player on the Scarlet Hawks. Long-range shot knocked down by Davis. That's his first points from the floor. All 6 of his first half points came from the free throw line. Tightens it up to a 27-21 margin. Here's Kelly now, trying to go against Lehman, couldn't get the finish. Brendan White muscles down the rebound, and now Fraioli takes contact on his way to the basket. Fraioli will head to the bench. As Sutherland comes back out, Brendan White with inbounds duty. Just barely gets it to Saylor. And a no-look pass to White, who gets the layup. Excellent work again for Brendan Saylor, announcing his presence on the varsity roster here tonight. Great facilitating work so far out of Saylor. Has displayed some very good chemistry with Brendan White in particular. Lead back up to 9. Lead back up to 8 for the Scarlet Hawks. As Everett looks for the steal, able to deflect the ball, but Brendan King able to get it back. King Philip goes pointless on that trip up to the floor, and now Everett, the move to the rim, no good. Second chance effort for Sutherland yields no results for Milford. And now it's back up the floor for Robert Giroust into the game. .446 to play in this third quarter. Move around to defender, and there is Bruce Santullis with points. So finally someone other than Davis, Madden, or Lehman getting on the score sheet. The foul right in front of the Milford bench. It's called on Giroust. More work, ball handling for Saylor. Dishes the pass to Sutherland in the corner, who has it poked out of play. Milford inbounds with 23 seconds to go on the shot clock. Sutherland under the basket, kicks it back out to White. And White puts up an ill-advised shot that was well short. Now, a hard block by Joey Everett. Tom Madden slow to get up. Wanted to see the foul called. Coach Champagne also unhappy with the lack of a whistle on that last play. will be Milford basketball. Coach Champagne has not been all that thrilled with the officiating through portions of this game. Here's a long feed into Kelly, takes his time. Just could not knock down the shot, was able to get King Philip to bite on the up fake, but Kelly unable to finish still. Caden Kelly looking for his first bucket of the second half. He had 8 points in the first half to lead Milford scoring through the first 2 quarters. .337 to play in the third. Here's Lehman, who has been relatively quiet so far. Milford called for the foul after the Lehman miss. To the bench goes Sutherland, back out onto the floor, Andrew Fraioli. Now to the basket for Santullis. Brendan White trying to draw the charge. In the end, Caden Kelly called for the foul. Off the back of the rim on the free throw attempt for number 21, Bruce Santullis, no good. Nearly bounced home. And another miss. And off the fingertips of, I believe, Lehman before Caden Kelly secured the rebound. So a pair of misses at the line for Santullis. Milford with a 6-point lead. Here's White from 3. Gets it to go. And Brendan White up to 7 points in this third quarter. It's been virtually all Brendan White for the Milford offensive attack in this third quarter. Now 13 points in the game for the junior captain, Brendan White, pushing Milford in front now by a score of 32-23. Timeout called with 3:03 to go in the third. As the state champion Milford Scarlet Hawk cheerleading squad entertains the crowd. We will be back with more in a moment here on Milford TV. Brendan White, after knocking down the 3, nearly came through with a steal off the inbounds pass. Now the ball deflected, and Caden Kelly has it. Milford's played a lot of tight physical defense tonight as the Hawks get the bank shot off the glass. I believe that was Saylor with the shot. As King Philip immediately calls another timeout with still 2 minutes and 39 seconds to go in the third quarter, as that shot pushes Milford's lead back to double digits. That's where it was right towards the end of the second quarter. It ended up being a 9-point lead going into the break, but now 34-23, Milford leads it. And again, Brendan White with 7 points so far in this third quarter, 12 points in the game. White, who is now a second-year varsity player and a captain for this team, served as a high-energy presence off the bench last year. Did a lot of tough work under the basket, quickly built a reputation as a very physical player. Even said to me before the season started, he is the kid that's not afraid to go out there and mix it up. Still bringing that physical brand of basketball, but has also had plenty of finish in the scoring category tonight, as this ball takes a nice deflection from Milford into the hands of Joey DeMarco, and now here's White once again. Sends it back to Saylor, slowing up the pace just a bit with 2:18 to play in the quarter. Caden Kelly comes out to try to set a screen, now gets the ball back and gets called for the travel. Took that pass and immediately spun around into a double team that he wasn't expecting. King Philip pushes it up into the corner from Madden, now across the way from 3-point range, count it. for Brendan King. There are King's first points of the night. A sorely needed 3. There's just the second three-pointer of the game. Farrow Davis with the first earlier in this quarter. Here's Fraioli. He gets it into Kelly, and no problem finishing at the rack for Kelly. And Kelly into double figures with an even 10 points. As we tick down to 90 seconds to play, King Philip unleashes another 3. King trying to knock down another one. This time sends it off the back of the rim. Here's White for 2. And some hard contact between White and Madden after the fact. And meanwhile, Kyle Lehman picks up just his 3rd bucket of the game. 6 points now on the night for Lehman. Saylor now trying to get away from Brendan King. Here's White now, runs into a wall, so he kicks it back out to DeMarco. 10 seconds on the shot clock, 53 seconds left in the period. Milford running out of time. White steps up, has his shot partially blocked. Madden comes away with the rebound. The ball knocked out of play, and it will be King Philip basketball. .45 seconds to go. Joey Everett contesting that inbounds pass as he comes back into the game. Here's Davis trying for the touch shot at the rim, no good. And now it's White from 3, in and out. Everett wrestles the rebound, sends a desperation pass outside, and it ends up finding its way to Saylor. Less than a second difference between shot clock and game clock. So Milford with a little time here. Saylor surveying his options. Runs baseline, cannot finish. Now 6 seconds left. Here's Davis pushing it up the floor. Now the pass outside, plenty of time to set the feet for Bruce Santulis, and he knocks down the 3 as time expires in the quarter. So King Philip able to grab a little bit of momentum back there right at the end, and all of a sudden they're able to cut the deficit back down to 5 points with still a full quarter left to go. So at times Milford looked like they were in full control in that 3rd quarter, but King Philip with some late life, and they're able to cut it to a 36-31 margin. With still the final 8 minutes yet to be played, we will see the 4th quarter get underway when we come back next on this coverage of Milford High School boys basketball here on Milford TV. Fourth quarter action underway rapidly here in the Milford gym. Once again, it is Tim Coet here on the call on opening night of the winter sports season. Milford has led this game since the beginning, but King Philip with some of their best offense of the night towards the end of that 3rd quarter to cut it to a 5-point deficit. Very quickly, Tom Madden at the line here in the 4th quarter. A chance to cut it to a 1-possession game. Misses the second shot, and Saylor plucks down the rebound. Just 12 points for Milford in that 3rd quarter, and most of them came from Brendan White. A couple of players in foul trouble for the Scarlet Hawks. Zach Tamaro, one of them, back out on the floor. Caden Kelly unable to knock down the inside shot. King Philip ended up outscoring Milford in that 3rd quarter, 16-12. And as a result, the lead that at a couple of different points tonight has extended into double digits for Milford. is down to just 4. As we're about to see more free throws on the King Philip side. Milford has only shot 4 free throws tonight. They've missed them all. King Philip, meanwhile, has 12 points from the free throw line tonight, as Joey Everett is able to come away with a clean steal, takes it all the way to the basket, could not get that roll around the rim, but instead will go to the free throw line. Everett, a quiet night offensively so far, just 2 points. They came all the way back in the first quarter. And that high arcing free throw attempt, no good. Everett misses both free throws. So Milford now 0 for 6 from the line. And the lead still just 4, but Everett comes away with another steal, feeds it ahead to Kelly. Kelly takes it to the basket and gets the shot and will go to the line. "12 points now on the night for Caden Kelly. Trying to extend the lead back out to 7 for Milford with 6:46 to go. And nothing but net on the free throw. The first make for Milford from the line as Everett and Kelly team up for another steal. And Kelly goes down awkwardly. Able to get right back to his feet. As right now, Milford has really ramped it up defensively. Coming through with steals on back-to-back possessions, almost had a third, but could not quite control it. And now it's Madden out to Davis. They feed Bruce Santellis, who got hot at the end of the third quarter, giving King Philip's offense some sorely needed depth. Tomorrow now, who's played limited minutes tonight. He takes contact. Brendan White right now on the bench getting a rest after really put this team on his back in the third quarter. It's the reason the team still has a lead. You have to imagine that one of the points of emphasis at the next basketball practice for Coach Seaver is going to be free throws, as there are 2 more misses from the line for Milford tonight. It has been a dreadful free throw shooting night. 1 for 9 from the line. But fortunate to have a lead with 6 minutes to play. Davis fakes the shot with Everett guarding him closely. Now Madden able to get around Tomorrow, takes it to the hoop and scores. "12 points now on the night for the captain, Tom Madden. Here's Saylor, tries to float it up, but it hits off the side of the backboard. Now quickly in transition for King Philip, but Lehman, an easy layup, but he misses. And now Saylor able to pluck down the hard feed from Tomorrow. Andrew Fraioli back out on the floor, dishes to Joey Everett from 3-point range, no good. And the rebound settled down by Nolan Bradley. King Philip right back to the line as Brendan Saylor will take a seat. Brendan White back out onto the floor. First point of the night for Nolan Bradley. And once again, King Philip with an opportunity to make it a one-possession game. Bradley does it. 39-36. King Philip has never led tonight. They're as close as they have been since the opening minutes of play when the game was tied at 2. Here's Kelly. Tricky move inside. Brendan White able to get the rebound, gets the shot, and erupts with emotion afterwards as White continues to carry this team. It's his first bucket here in the fourth. 14 points now for White. Now, can he convert the free throw? He is 0 for 4 so far. And finally gets one to rattle in. A 6-point lead as King Philip loses the dribble. White with the steal, but then gets called for the travel. Ian Kung, who had his pocket picked by White, immediately gets pulled back to the bench. Coach Champagne with an animated conversation. It's Davis and Lehman, they swing it around on the perimeter. The three-point shot for Nolan Bradley, no good. Everett diving for the ball. Milford able to get the timeout in just in the nick of time as Everett sprawled out for that loose ball. So possession goes to the Scarlet Hawks. They lead it 42-36 with 4.5 minutes to play in the season debut for the Scarlet Hawks. We'll have a couple of opportunities to see Milford here in the opening weeks. As we mentioned, they'll be on the road on Friday. That is when we'll have an opportunity to see the girls basketball team for the one and only time in the month of December. The girls will take on their counterparts from Franklin here in the Milford Gym on Friday. We will have live streaming coverage of that game, so come back on Friday night for coverage of the girls basketball team here on Milford TV. And then it'll be back to the boys once again a week from tonight, December 19th, as Milford takes on another Kelly Rex team in the Taunton Tigers in a 6:30 tilt. So 3 games on our coverage calendar for the month of December for basketball. Before we get into the thick of our regular season coverage in January, a whole host of games on tap for both boys and girls hoops in the month of January. But still plenty to be decided here tonight in our season opener, a 42-36 lead for Milford. As the Hawks turn it over. Coach Seaver not a fan of the call. The Milford student section has not done a whole lot of sitting tonight. They continue to stand here as we tick down to 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Invested right from the opening tip. They've watched an entertaining game. Milford with the 6-point lead. Davis trying to split a couple of defenders, instead leaves it behind outside for Lehman at the buzzer for the shot clock, and Lehman is able to rattle home the 3. A huge shot for King Philip, back down to a one-possession game. Here's tomorrow. He struggled to find any flow tonight with the foul trouble. Did knock down a pair of threes in the first half as Caden Kelly is able to answer back with 2. Caden with 7 points now in this second half, 15 in the game. And the reverse lay-in on the other side of the floor for Tom Madden as King Philip answers right back, 44-41. As another timeout is called. very close down to the finish here tonight. Milford up by 3, and we will have more boys basketball action in just a moment here on Milford TV. Last season it was 17 points from Anthony Arcudi and 10 points from Shane Cosquet that led the way for a 60-50 victory for Milford at King Philip in the opening game of the 2016-17 season. The year prior, it was an incredible fourth quarter performance by senior Dwight Anderson that led to a 66-63 victory for Milford over KP. So a 2-game winning streak for Milford against the Warriors as Kelly misses at the rim. And now King Philip up the floor, trailing by just 3. And Kyle Lehman gets fouled. A chance at the free throw line to cut it to just a 1-point Milford lead. Kyle Lehman, part of basketball royalty for King Philip High School. His older brother, Jake, a 1,000-point scorer in his career at King Philip, went on to a distinguished career at the University of Maryland, and now is in his second year in the NBA for the Portland Trail Blazers. And Kyle Lehman also building up a great track record of his own as Madden gets the steal, takes it to the basket. Doesn't get the shot to fall. Caden Kelly trying to draw the charge, but instead we'll see free throws from Madden and a golden opportunity after the quick hands for the steal for King Philip to now tie it. Madden unable to do it on that first shot. Madden knocks down the second free throw, and we are tied at 44. Milford briefly pushed the lead back up to 9 points in this fourth quarter, but King Philip has refused to go away. And now a brand new ball game at 44 all. As Saylor works his way back outside, ticking down to 5 seconds on the shot clock as Davis tries for the steal. Farrow Davis gets called for the foul. And I do believe that Farrow Davis has fouled out of this basketball game. So that's a huge loss for King Philip. 9 points on the night for Davis, but also has been a very good defender. And another miss at the free throw line for Milford. Really in their heads at this point. Keeps the game knotted up at 44. Another opportunity for King Philip to take the lead if they can knock down a shot here. Under 2 minutes to go. Here's Lehman. He'll release it from 3-point range off the side of the rim. But King Philip keeps the possession alive, and they're able to come through with 3. A huge bucket for Nolan Bradley. His first points from the floor give King Philip the first lead of the night. Here's White. He gets his shot blocked on the other end of the floor. Bradley kicks it back outside for Madden, who had some time. Didn't elect to take the shot. As King Philip tries to control some of this clock now as they lead by 3 as Brendan White is called for the foul. Tomorrow and Fraioli waiting at the scorer's table to check back into the game. Free throws for Kyle Lehman. Two big makes for Lehman. All of a sudden a 5-point King Philip lead as things have really deteriorated for Milford. For a while it looked like their poor free throw shooting was not going to play a role in the outcome of this game, but a very different story now. Here's Kelly looking uncomfortable, sends the pass back outside, the shot no good. Brendan White able to pick up the offensive rebound. And he will head to the line, and certainly not a place Milford wants to be right now, but they need to have these shots with just 52.9 seconds left. And White makes the first. Now 2 for 7 from the free throw line tonight. Can't make the second. So a 4-point margin in King Philip's favor. Milford needs to come through with a stop. Just 44 seconds left as King Philip calls the timeout. So Pharaoh Davis no longer in the mix for King Philip, but we've seen other players step up here in the fourth quarter. Tom Madden has 6 points here in the fourth. Nolan Bradley with 5 points. Kyle Lehman also with 5 points. So after a lot of offensive struggles in the first half, King Philip figuring things out here as the game has gone along, and as a result, they hold a 49-45 lead on Milford with just 42.7 seconds left. King Philip will have the ball coming out of this timeout with 21 seconds left on the shot clock as Milford retakes the floor with Andrew Fraioli, Joey Everett, Brendan White, Zach Tamaro, and Caden Kelly. This was Milford's original starting 5 tonight. They have not been able to play as a unit as much as they would have liked due to a lot of foul trouble, particularly for Zach Tamaro. They get the inbounds pass into Nolan Bradley. Just 40 seconds left as Milford tries for the trap at midcourt with White and Everett. I believe they'll call the foul on Everett. Nolan Bradley, who was held completely off the score sheet through the first 3 quarters tonight, but has 5 huge points in this fourth quarter. And you can make it 6. As things are quickly slipping away from Milford, now down by 5 with 38.2 seconds left. And a 6-point deficit now staring Milford in the face. White casually taking the ball up the floor. Milford without a lot of time left to work with. As King Philip gets called for the foul, as again, Coach Champagne disagrees vigorously on the sideline. Once again sends Brendan White to the line. Two makes that time for White. He's picked it up a little bit here in the fourth. 4 for 5 from the line here in the fourth as Milford is forced to commit the quick foul, stopping the clock with 29.8 seconds left. Milford counting on some misses from Kyle Lehman from the free throw line. Lehman goes 1 for 2 on that trip. 52-47. Feed it to Tomorrow. He passes up from three-point range. Can't get the bank shot home. Milford saves it from going out of bounds, but King Philip able to secure it. And Caden Kelly, no choice but to commit the foul in the corner on Lehman with just 11.3 seconds left. And so a victory all but sealed up now for King Philip, and just a very surprising turn of events now as some of the student section starts to head for the exits here in Milford. Timeout called on the court before we see the free throws from Lehman. So again, this game for long periods of time was controlled by the Scarlet Hawks. A 24-15 lead at halftime, a 36-31 lead after 3 quarters. A couple of times seeing that lead touch double digits, but it's been more of a grind here in the second half. Caden Kelly with just 5 points. Excuse me, Caden Kelly with 5 points here in the fourth quarter, 7 points in the second half. But overall, it's been just Kelly and White in the second half. So we talked about it in the first half with King Philip, with Lehman, Madden, and Davis as their only scorers. In the second half for Milford, it's been Caden Kelly and Brendan White with all of the scoring, with the exception of a single bucket for Brendan Saylor. He's not getting enough from the supporting cast tonight for the Scarlet Hawks, who take it up the floor with the final 5 seconds about to tick away. Brendan White trying everything he can to get that one underneath the basket, but it does not fall. And so a 2-game winning streak for Milford against King Philip comes to an end here tonight, as they drop this one. A disappointing loss for the Scarlet Hawks as they let a lead slip away here in this fourth quarter. So Milford drops to 0-1 on the season, and King Philip, with a resilient effort here tonight, will improve to 1-0, winning their first game here on their 2017-2018 campaign. Milford will look to get on the winning side for the first time this season a couple of nights from now as they travel to Franklin to take on the Panthers on Friday, December 15th. And again, our next coverage here for Scarlet Hawks Athletics will be the girls basketball team making their home debut against Franklin on Friday. That is when we will talk to you next. In the meantime, a big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand for the first time for this winter sports season, our director Rob O'Keefe, and our camera operators Malcolm Zale, John Giacomuzzi, and Neelan Reisman. And I am Tim Coet. This has been a presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.